How did one funny office joke turn into divorce papers being handed to me in my own workplace lobby? Why did my husband stay calm all night, then file the very next morning like I was a case, not a wife? My name is Ayesha Dalton, and people at work knew me as the loud one with the good hair and the fast smile. I worked in marketing operations at a mid-sized tech company, the kind with bright walls and free snacks and big talk about culture. I liked that word, culture, because it sounded like a shield. If I did something and people clapped, then it could not be wrong. That was how I trained myself to think. My husband, Ethan, did not fit in my work world. He worked in IT, and he liked quiet rooms and clear rules. He did not drink much. He did not like being the center of attention. I used to say that was cute, but after a while I started to say it was weak. I told myself I needed a partner who could keep up. I use that phrase often because it made me sound serious, not selfish. The holiday party was on the rooftop of our office building. There were string lights, a DJ, and little bowls of snacks that looked fancy but tasted like air. People were filming everything. My friend Marlo Chen waved me over right away. She had already taken 3 videos of the dance floor. She asked if Ethan came with me, and I said he did, like it was a favor he should thank me for. Ethan arrived 10 minutes later. He wore a clean button-down and a small smile. He held my coat like a polite guest. He asked if he should stand near the wall or near the bar. I said he could stand wherever he wanted, but I made it sound like he was asking for permission. That was my first little move of the night. Marlo looked him up and down and then looked at me. She asked if he was always that serious. I said he was like that at home too, and I rolled my eyes. I did it with a laugh, so it looked playful. Ethan heard the tone. He asked if I was already annoyed. I said I was just teasing and he should relax. I touched his arm, but it was not a warm touch. It was like placing a sticker on a box. Damien Klein, my boss, was already there. He had the kind of smile that made people lean in. He walked like he owned the air. He shook Ethan's hand and said he was glad Ethan could make it. Ethan said it was nice to meet him. Damien asked what Ethan did, and Ethan said he worked in systems. Damien nodded like he understood, but his eyes slid back to me, like we had a private joke. I loved that look. It made me feel chosen. I told myself Ethan had let our marriage get dull. I told myself I was still young and I deserved spark. I never said that to Ethan in a clean way. I only said it in small stabs. I would say work was hard and I needed more. I would say he was safe, like safe was an insult. When Ethan asked what I meant, I would say I did not want to fight. Then I would act hurt when he went quiet. At the party, I wanted my coworkers to see me as powerful. I wanted them to see Ethan as the extra piece. I wanted the story to be simple. I was the bright one, he was the heavy one. If that story lived, then everything I did later would feel earned. There was a moment when Marlo pulled me into a circle near the heaters. People were doing little awards, like funniest, hottest, most likely to get promoted. Someone asked who had the best taste in men. I laughed too loud and pointed at myself. Someone asked what Ethan was like at home. I could have said kind. I could have said steady. Instead, I looked around for the biggest reaction. Damien stepped closer at that moment, like he was part of the game. Someone asked if my boss was strict. I said he was intense. They asked if I liked intense. I said I did. Then the words came out in a way that felt easy, like slipping on shoes I had already worn. I joked that Damien was probably better in bed than my husband. I said it like it was a punchline, not a knife. The circle exploded with laughter. A phone camera lifted, and I saw the red recording dot. People cheered like I had done something brave. Ethan did not laugh. He stared at me for a second, like he was trying to translate what he heard into something softer. His face went pale. He asked if I had just said that. I said it was a joke and he was being dramatic. I added that everyone was joking and he was making it weird. I said it fast, so he could not breathe between my words. Marlo put her hand on my shoulder and said I was savage. Someone else said Ethan should loosen up. Damien smiled, but it was not a full smile. It was the kind of smile that says, I will enjoy this if it costs you, not me. Ethan asked if we could talk somewhere quiet. I said there was no need to talk because nothing happened. I told him he was embarrassing me. I said he always did this at the worst time. That part was not even true, but it worked because it made him the problem. He tried again. He asked why I would compare him like that in public. I said he should not act like a victim, because he knew how hard I worked and how much pressure I had. I said I needed to feel supported, not judged. I made my tone sharp, like I was the one wounded. He looked around and saw eyes on him. He did not raise his voice. He just nodded once, like he understood the rules of the room. He said he would go get some air. I said he should do that, like I was granting permission. I watched him walk to the edge of the rooftop where the city lights made everyone look smaller. For 1 second, I felt a tiny pinch in my chest. Then I turned back to the group, because the group was warm and loud and on my side. I told myself Ethan was too sensitive. I told myself he wanted to control me. I told myself my joke was proof I was free. That is what I believed in the moment. I still remember how clean it felt to be cheered for, even while my husband stood alone. Later, Ethan came back and asked if we could leave. He said he did not feel well. I said he was trying to ruin my night. He asked if I cared how he felt. I said of course I cared, but he had to stop acting like I was the enemy. I said it with a calm face, like I was the adult. He did not fight. He picked up my coat and held it out. I took it slowly, like I was doing him a favor by leaving early. We rode the elevator down with other co-workers. One of them winked at me like I had won something. Ethan looked at the floor. When we got to the parking garage, Ethan asked if I understood what I had done. I said he was overreacting, and it was just office humor. I said he should be happy I was confident. He asked if I would say sorry. I said sorry was for real harm, and jokes were not real harm. He started the car without another word. His hands were steady on the wheel. That steadiness made me angry, because it did not give me a scene to point at later. I wanted him to shout so I could tell people he was the problem. Instead, he drove in silence, and the silence felt like a door closing somewhere I could not see. In the morning, the kitchen felt too bright. The light came in hard through the blinds, and the counter looked empty even with cups on it. Ethan was already awake. He stood by the sink with his phone in his hand. His coffee sat untouched. He looked like he had not slept, but he did not say that. I asked if he was still angry about last night. He asked why I would say something like that in front of everyone. I said it was a joke, and he knew my work friends were like that. He asked if I understood how it sounded. I said it sounded like humor, and he was twisting it into something ugly. I told myself that if I said joke enough times, it would become true. He did not raise his voice. He asked if I would delete any videos if they got posted. I said nobody posted anything bad, and even if they did, he should not be scared of people laughing. I said confidence was part of my career, and he should support it. I said it like a rule, not a request. Sienna came in with her pajamas still wrinkled. She asked why Daddy looked sad. Ethan told her he was fine. I said Daddy was just tired. Ethan looked at me for a second like he wanted to argue, but he did not. He asked Sienna if she wanted cereal. She nodded. He poured it slowly, like each small thing mattered. While he reached for the milk, I noticed a new folder on the table. It was plain and thick, and it had a simple label, Bank. Ethan moved it closer to his side when he saw my eyes on it. I asked what that was. He said it was nothing, and he was organizing. I laughed and said he never organized before. He did not laugh back. I went to the bedroom to get dressed for work. My phone buzzed. It was Marlo. She sent me a short clip from the rooftop circle. My voice was loud in it. People's laughter hit like waves. Ethan's face was in the background, still and pale. Marlo wrote that it was iconic and asked if she could post it. I felt a rush. The clip made me look fearless. It made me look like a woman who could say anything and still be loved. I told Marlo she could post it, but I told her to make it funny, not mean. I said Ethan was sensitive, and I added a laughing emoji like a bandage. When I walked back into the kitchen, Ethan was wiping the counter that was already clean. I said I had to go early. He asked if we would talk tonight. I said we could talk, but I did not want drama. He asked what I thought he wanted. I said he wanted to control me with guilt. He shook his head once, small and slow. On the drive to work, I told myself Ethan was doing emotional punishment. I told myself his silence was an attack. I told myself my words at the party were honest, and honesty should not be punished. I did not call it cheating. I called it truth. At the office, the air felt different. People smiled at me like I had performed. A few co-workers nodded like they shared my secret. Marlo ran up and asked if I saw the comments yet. I asked what comments. She showed me her post. The caption said something about holiday honesty. The video had already been shared twice. The comments were fast and messy. Some people called me brave. Some people said Ethan looked like a sad puppy. One person asked if my boss was single. Another person wrote that my husband should learn to satisfy me. I read them all like they were trophies. I told myself none of it was my fault. I told myself Ethan chose to look weak by not laughing. That was my logic. If he did not play along, then he deserved the role I gave him. Around mid-morning, Damien sent me a message. He said the party was wild and asked if I was okay. He added that I had a sharp sense of humor, but I should be careful because people record everything. I told him I was fine and said my husband could not take a joke. Damien replied with a short line about not letting anyone dull my edge. That line sat in my chest like warm sugar. I liked that he acted like he understood me. I also liked that he used careful words. It felt safe and risky at the same time. At lunch, I sat with Marlo and two other co-workers near the window. They asked how Ethan took it after we left. I said he sulked. I said he always tried to make me feel guilty when I had fun. I said he could not handle my job because he did not understand ambition. I did not mention that he asked for a simple apology. I did not mention that he looked like he might cry, but held it back. One co-worker asked if Ethan was the jealous type. I said yes. I let that word hang there. I did not say abusive or anything heavy, but I shaped it so people would picture the worst. I watched their faces change. I felt powerful. Later, my sister Danny texted me a screenshot of the video. She asked what I was doing. I said it was only a joke and people were too serious. She said jokes do not follow you into court, but receipts do. I asked what she meant. She said nothing and told me to call her after work. That irritated me. I did not want warnings. I wanted agreement. I replied that she was being dramatic like Ethan. At the end of the day, I came home and saw Ethan's car already in the driveway. The trunk was open. He stood near it with a grocery bag and a small stack of papers he quickly slid into the bank folder. When he noticed me, he shut the trunk and held his keys tight. I asked what he was doing. He said he was running errands. I asked why he looked so serious. He asked if I saw the video online yet. I said yes, and I said it was funny. He asked if I understood that it humiliated him. I said he humiliated himself by acting wounded. He went inside without answering. I followed him into the hallway and asked if he was going to ignore me forever. He turned and asked if I wanted to be married to him. I said of course I did, but he needed to stop making me the bad guy for being honest. He looked at me like he was finally seeing me clearly. Then he walked past me, and I heard a soft click from the office door, like a lock turning. The click of the lock stayed in my head while I made dinner. It was not loud, but it felt loud. Ethan did not usually lock doors inside our home. It felt like a message. I told myself it was childish. I told myself he was doing it to scare me. That story helped me stay angry instead of scared. I cut vegetables too fast. I banged a pan on the stove like the pan had done something to me. Sienna sat at the table with crayons. She asked what we were eating. I said pasta. She asked where Daddy was. I said he was working. That was true, but it was also a shield. Ethan was behind a closed door, and I did not want to say that. When he finally came out, he carried his laptop and that same thick folder. He put the folder in a drawer and closed it. The drawer made a small clicking sound, like it had a lock too. I watched his hands. They were steady again. He asked if Sienna had homework. I said she had coloring. He asked if I could keep my voice down because she was right there. That annoyed me. It felt like he was acting calm on purpose, like he wanted to look like the good one. At dinner, he did not mention the party. He asked Sienna about school. He asked what book she read. He asked if she wanted apples in her lunch tomorrow. He sounded like a man playing a role. I told myself he was performing fatherhood to make me look worse. After we put Sienna to bed, I followed Ethan to the living room. I asked why he locked the office. He said he needed privacy. I asked since when. He said since now. I asked if he was hiding something. He asked if I thought hiding was the only reason a person wants privacy. I said yes, in a marriage. He said he disagreed. I told him I felt disrespected. He asked what respect meant to me. I said respect meant not treating me like a criminal. He asked why I used that word. I said because he acted like I was guilty. He said I embarrassed him in public, and I did not care. I told him he embarrassed me by being sensitive. He asked if I could say sorry without adding a but. I said sorry, but he had to understand the pressure I was under. He did not accept that. He said a real apology was simple. I said simple was not fair. I said he wanted to trap me into a confession. He asked what I was confessing to. I said nothing. Then I felt heat rise in my face because my own words were turning into a corner. He stood up and said he was going for a walk. I asked if he was going to tell people lies about me. He said he was going to breathe. He put on his jacket and left. When the front door closed, I picked up my phone and called Marlo. I told her Ethan was acting cold and weird. She asked if I wanted to come out for a drink. I said I could not, because I had Sienna. Marlo asked if I was sure Ethan was not trying to punish me for being honest. I said that was exactly what he was doing. She told me I should not let him rewrite the story. She said I should keep posting, keep smiling, and make him look like the one who could not handle a strong woman. That advice felt like water on a fire. It did not fix anything, but it made me feel powerful. The next day at work, people still mentioned the party video. A co-worker from sales asked if Ethan was okay. I laughed and said he was dramatic. She said she hoped he was not the jealous type. I said he got jealous sometimes, but I could handle it. I said it like I was experienced with a difficult man. I watched her eyes widen in a way that pleased me. Damien called me into his office after lunch. The door closed softly behind me. He asked if things were calm at home. I said Ethan was sulking. Damien said I should protect my image and be careful with public jokes. I said Ethan had no right to act like a victim because he knew I worked hard. Damien said he understood pressure. He said sometimes people need support that is not heavy. I understood what he was offering without him saying it. That was how Damien worked. He made everything sound like a professional favor. He asked if I wanted to take a short walk to clear my head. I said yes. I told myself it was normal. I told myself it was healthy. I told myself Ethan did not deserve my honesty if he could not handle it. We walked near the riverside promenade behind the office buildings. The air was cold and sharp. Damien asked if I felt appreciated at home. I said Ethan was stable but not exciting. Damien asked if I missed being desired. I said every woman wants to feel wanted. He nodded like I had said something deep. He did not touch me in a way that would look obvious, but he stood close. He kept his voice low. He asked if Ethan ever made me feel small. I said yes, even though Ethan had never called me names. I meant small like invisible. I let Damien think it was worse than it was. It made my choices feel justified. My phone buzzed. It was Ethan. He asked where I was. I said I was still at work. He asked if I could talk for 1 minute. I said I was busy and he needed to stop tracking me. He said he was not tracking me, he was asking. I said asking was the same thing if it came with suspicion. He went quiet, and then he said, okay. Later, when Damien and I turned back toward the street, I saw someone from work across the walkway. It was Kelsey from finance. Her eyes flicked to Damien and then to me. She smiled too fast. She did not wave. She kept walking. A tight feeling hit my stomach. I told myself it meant nothing. I told myself she would not dare gossip because it would make her look petty. Still, I walked back to the office with my shoulders stiff. That evening, I stopped at the gym even though I did not really want to work out. I wanted a reason to be out. I wanted to be busy, so Ethan could not pull me into another talk. In the parking lot, Damien's name appeared on my phone again. He asked if I got home safe. I answered quickly and said yes. He replied with a short line about how I deserved peace. When I got home, Ethan was on the couch with his laptop open. The screen showed a simple grid like a spreadsheet, but I could not see the words. He clicked the window away as soon as I walked in. I asked what he was doing. He said he was organizing schedules. I asked whose schedules. He said ours. Sienna came out with her blanket and asked if we could have pancakes tomorrow. Ethan said yes. He looked at her and smiled, and the smile looked real. Then his phone made a soft beep. He glanced at it, and I saw a calendar reminder flash for 1 second. It had a place name and a time, like downtown 10:30 a.m. I asked what that was. He said it was a meeting. I asked with who. He said personal. I asked why he had personal meetings now. He said because he needed them. I laughed like it was funny. I said he was being dramatic again. He did not laugh. He asked if I planned to keep making jokes about him online. I said I could say what I wanted. He asked if I understood that the internet does not forget. I said he was threatening me. He said he was warning me. Then he stood up, picked up his mug, and put it on the other side of the counter, away from mine. It was such a small movement, but it felt like a line being drawn. The next weekend was Ruth Dalton's birthday dinner, and Ethan said we should go. He told me it was important for Sienna to see family together. I heard the part he did not say. He wanted witnesses. I told myself he was being sneaky. I told myself he was setting me up to look bad. That thought made me walk in ready to fight. The restaurant was a big family place, with long tables and warm lights that made everyone's skin look softer. The kind of place where servers smile, like they have heard every story. Ethan's family was already there. Ruth sat at the center, straight-backed, holding her water glass like it was a rule. Caleb sat near her, shoulders wide, watching the room like a guard. 2 cousins and an aunt were on the far side, talking low. My family came too. My mum, Jocelyn, arrived loud and confident, like she owned the air. My dad followed, quiet and tired. My sister Danny came last, and she looked at me like she was checking my face for cracks. Ethan held Sienna's hand and guided her to a seat. He pulled out Ruth's chair first and helped her sit, like he wanted everyone to see how calm he could be. Ruth thanked him and patted his arm. She did not touch my arm. I noticed, and it stung. When I sat down, I felt eyes on me. Not rude eyes, but careful eyes. I told myself they were judging me because they never liked me. That story helped me ignore the real reason. The waiter brought menus, and people started asking about work and the weather. I tried to laugh and act normal. My mom talked about my job like it was a trophy. She said I was moving up and that I was not the kind of woman who hides. Ruth nodded, but her face stayed flat. Caleb asked what moving up meant. My mom said it meant respect. I used that opening. I said respect follows results, and I had results. I said it like a speech. Ethan looked down at his plate. Ruth asked Ethan how things were at home. Ethan said things were fine. and that he was keeping routines for Sienna. He said it in a simple way, like he was reading a list. Ruth asked if he was sleeping okay. Ethan said he slept enough. He did not look at me. My mom asked why he was so serious. She said people should be able to laugh. Ruth asked what she meant. My mum said she heard there was a silly joke at the office party and that Ethan acted wounded. She said it with a smile, like she was passing a small snack across the table. My stomach tightened. I had told my mum parts of it, but I did not expect her to throw it on the table like that. Still, I did not stop her. I liked having a shield, even if it was messy. Caleb asked what the joke was. My mom started to repeat it. Danny's face changed. She told my mom to stop. My mom asked why. Danny said it was not dinner talk. My mom said people were too sensitive, just like Ethan. Ethan finally spoke. He said he did not want to discuss it here. He said it was Ruth's birthday. Ruth looked at him and said she appreciated that. Then she looked at me and asked if I also appreciated that. I could have nodded. I could have said yes. Instead, I said Ethan was making it a bigger thing than it was. I said I was tired of walking on eggshells. I said I should be allowed to be funny without being punished. Ruth asked what punishment I meant. I said Ethan's silence was punishment. I said he locked doors and acted like I was a stranger. Caleb asked what doors. I said the office door. Caleb asked why he needed to lock it. I said because he was hiding something. Ethan's eyes lifted then. He asked if I truly believed the only reason for privacy was hiding. I said yes, because marriage is shared. He said marriage is shared, but respect is also shared. He asked if I shared respect when I made the joke. I felt heat rush to my face. I told myself he was trying to embarrass me in front of everyone. I told myself I had to strike first. I said Ethan was acting like a victim because it gave him control. I said he liked being seen as the good guy. I said he had always been jealous of my work life. I did not say Damien by name, but I did not have to. The table understood. My mom jumped in and said strong women get punished by weak men. She said that was the oldest story. Ruth's mouth tightened. My dad cleared his throat like he wanted the conversation to turn, but it did not. Ruth said she would not call Ethan weak. She said he worked hard and took care of his family. My mom said taking care is not the same as passion. Danny whispered that my mom was making it worse. My mom told her to stop babying Ethan. Sienna sat very still. She pushed her fries into a small line. She asked why everyone sounded mad. I said no one was mad, we were just talking. Ethan told Sienna that adults sometimes forget to use calm voices. He said they should try again. He looked at me when he said it. The waiter arrived with cake, like an innocent rescue. Ruth thanked him and asked everyone to sing. People sang, but the song felt thin. After the candles were blown out, Ruth cut the cake with careful hands. She gave Sienna the first piece. She gave Ethan the second. She gave me mine last. In the middle of all that, Ethan's phone buzzed once on the table. He turned it face down without looking. That small move felt like another line. I tried to catch a glimpse of the screen, but he had already covered it with his hand. Caleb saw me trying and raised an eyebrow. I pretended I was reaching for my fork. When dinner ended, people stood up slowly, like they were leaving a meeting, not a celebration. My mom hugged me and said Ethan was being dramatic and would calm down. Danny asked if I could talk outside. I told her there was nothing to talk about. She said there was a lot to talk about, but I did not want to hear it. In the parking lot, the cold air hit my face and made my eyes water. Ethan walked ahead with Sienna. Ruth hugged Ethan and said she loved him. She told him to take care of himself. She did not speak to me except to say goodnight. I caught up to Ethan by the car. I asked if he felt proud of himself for turning dinner into a trial. He asked if I heard myself. I said he was the one making scenes. He said he did not raise his voice once. I said silence can be a scene too. He opened the back door for Sienna and buckled her in. He asked if I was coming in our car, or if I wanted to find my own way home. I said of course I was coming, and I told him he was being ridiculous. He started the engine and pulled out without waiting for me to settle. I held the door handle and felt the car move, and something in me shifted from anger to fear. Not because he drove fast, but because he drove like he had already decided where he was going, and my opinion no longer mattered. The week after Ruth's dinner felt like living inside a slow alarm. Nothing exploded, but everything felt sharp. Ethan did not shout. He did not accuse me in front of Sienna. He just moved through the house like a guest who already knew the exit. In the mornings, he used a different mug. He wiped the counter after he used it, even if it was already clean. He started leaving 10 minutes earlier than usual. When I asked why, he said he had errands. When I asked what errands, he said personal. I told myself he was trying to look mysterious to scare me. I told myself he was doing it for attention, like a child. I tried to pull him back into a fight, because a fight would mean he still cared. One morning in the kitchen, I said he was acting cold on purpose. He asked what I wanted from him. I said I wanted him to stop punishing me. He asked how he was punishing me. I said his silence was punishment. He said silence was sometimes the only safe choice. I asked safe from what? He said safe from words that cannot be taken back. That made me angry, because it sounded like he was calling me dangerous, but without saying it. I told him he was dramatic. He nodded once and walked away. At work, the video still floated around like a bad smell. People did not show it to me anymore, but I could see them watching me. I caught whispers near the printer. I walked into the break room, and the talking paused for 1 second too long. Marlo told me it was fine and that people loved me. She said the internet moves on fast. I said yes, but my stomach did not believe her. Damien kept distance in public. He still sent messages, but they were short and clean. He asked how my week was going and said I should focus on deliverables. One afternoon, he asked if I could meet him for coffee to talk about next quarter strategy. He said it like it was normal. I said yes, because I liked the way he made me feel chosen, and I also liked the risk. We met at a coffee shop near downtown, not near our office. I told myself it was because it was quiet. I did not tell Ethan. I told Ethan I had a late meeting. Damien asked if things at home settled down. I said Ethan was still sulking. Damien asked if I felt trapped. I said sometimes. He said he understood how people can try to hold you down when you grow. I said that was exactly it. I let him build the story for me. It was easier than telling the truth. When I got home, Ethan asked how my meeting went. I said it was fine. He asked who it was with. I said it was a general meeting. He asked general with who. I said work people. He said okay, and he did not ask again. That should have made me feel safe. Instead, it made me feel watched. Not like he had a camera, but like he had a plan. It felt worse than shouting. On Thursday, I went to pick up Sienna from school. The pickup line was slow, like always. Parents sat in cars and stared ahead like they were all practicing patience. When Sienna climbed in, she asked if Daddy was coming to her winter show. I said yes. She asked why Daddy sleeps in the other room sometimes. I said he likes quiet. She asked if we were mad at each other. I told her adults just get tired. I said it fast because if I slowed down, my voice would shake. At home that night, Ethan put a small bag near the door, like gym clothes or work shoes. I asked why his bag was there. He said he wanted it ready. I asked ready for what? He said in case he needed it. I told him he was being dramatic again. He asked if I understood that being ready is not drama. He said it was responsibility. I tried to flip it. I said he was threatening to leave. He said he was not threatening anything. He said he was making choices. I asked if his choice was to abandon his family. He asked why I called it abandoning when he was still here, still parenting, still paying bills. I said he was emotionally gone. He said emotions are not a weapon. That line hit me because I used emotions as a weapon all the time. I used tears when I needed pity. I used coldness when I needed control. I used laughter when I needed to erase harm. Hearing him name the game without naming it made me feel exposed. The next day at the supermarket, I decided to create a scene. Not a loud scene, but a scene that would make him look bad. I asked him to buy extra items we did not need. He said we should stick to the list. I said he was being cheap. He said he was being careful. I said, careful was another word for punishing me. He said, careful was another word for protecting a child's routine. At the checkout, I spoke louder. I said he was controlling. The cashier looked up for a moment and then looked away. Ethan paid, calm as stone. He did not correct me in public. He did not defend himself. That made me furious, because I wanted the cashier to see him react. I wanted proof I could show later. On the drive home, I accused him again. I said he was trying to make me look crazy. He asked why I needed an audience. I said I did not. He said my actions always had an audience, even at home. He said I performed. When we got home, I heard a low hum from the hallway closet. It sounded like a shredder for a few seconds, then it stopped. I walked toward the sound, and Ethan stepped in front of the closet door without touching me. He just stood there. He asked if I needed something. I said I was looking for batteries. He said he would get them later. He said the closet was messy. That night, after Sienna fell asleep, I stood at the office door again. I put my hand on the knob. It was locked. I knocked and asked what he was doing. He opened it only a crack. I saw his laptop open and a clean stack of papers beside it, face down. I could not see words. I only saw order. I smelled faint toner, like something had been printed recently. I asked if he was building a case against me. He asked if I had done things that need a case. I said I had done nothing wrong. He asked why I looked scared then. I said I was not scared, I was offended. He said offended is not the same as innocent. I pushed harder. I said he was ruining our marriage over a joke. He asked if it was only a joke. I said yes. He asked if I wanted to say that to Sienna when she was older. I said that was unfair. He said truth feels unfair when it points at you. I told him he was acting like a stranger. He said maybe I made him one. I told him he needed therapy. He said he was handling it. I asked how. He looked at me with a calm face that did not beg, did not shake, did not rage. Then he said, very evenly, that he was going to handle it properly. The next morning, I walked into the office tower like I could still outsmile consequences. I wore my best coat. I told myself I would be the calm one. I told myself Ethan would cool down, because that is what men do when they realize they might lose a good woman. In the lobby, the air smelled like coffee and polished stone. People from my floor were there, waiting for elevators. I saw Kelsey from finance. I saw 2 sales reps. I even saw someone from HR near the security desk. Ethan was already there. He stood a few steps away from the entrance, not blocking me, not chasing me. His face was steady. His hands were empty. He looked like he had slept for the first time in a week. He asked if I could talk for 1 minute. I said he could talk, but I would not be blamed for a joke. He nodded like he expected that answer. A woman in a plain blazer walked up to me and said my full name. She handed me an envelope and asked me to confirm my identity. I said this was harassment. She said she was serving legal documents and that I could read them on my own time. I opened it anyway, because my hands moved before my pride did. The first page said divorce. The next pages talked about temporary orders, starting today. It listed a parenting schedule, a quiet distance rule, and money accounts I could not touch alone anymore. My vision went narrow. I heard elevator dings like faraway bells. Ethan did not gloat. He just said he would only communicate about Sienna through a written app now. Then he turned and walked out of the lobby as HR called my name and asked me to step into a room.